Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show reviews. And today I'm reviewing Abbott Elementary Season 2, Episode 20. It's entitled Educator of the Year. It's coming to you from ABC, streaming on Hulu. So, what did I think about it, and should you be watching? Before we get into the review, get down there, hit like on this video. Well, Abbott returns after a couple-week hiatus, and it's all about the Teacher of the Year award. Gregory Eddy, yes, the rookie teacher, somehow, for the optics, gets chosen to be Educator of the Year. And he's not sure how to feel about that. Meanwhile, Barbara hasn't completed her continuing education, and she's got to figure out how she can complete a class so that she can return, to continue to teach. And also, Janine has a problem student and resorts to a parent-teacher conference that doesn't quite go the way she expects. And it's a pretty tough scene for her. And all of that culminates into a big, scene where Gregory, accepts an award. But I'm kind of summarizing real quick about there. But so let's talk about the ABC plots here and what worked about them. Why? Because let's just say this was a great episode. This wasn't one of those episodes like usually Abbott has a lot of gut busting. There's a lot of really funny jokes on it. The delivery is always on point, so I'm constantly laughing. But I think I quickly realized there was a lot more to this episode than just one-liners and good gags and setups. But in fact, they were actually going to engage me emotionally in other ways besides humor. And I didn't quite realize that till about halfway through the episode. So let's start with the different plot points. Gregory, he gets chosen, and he spends much of the episode kind of not really sure why he got the award. And even though, Ava, she's kind of hovering around most of this episode, she is, she not explains, but she kind of shows why she actually is a good principal, even in the day-to-day running of the ship. She's not awesome, but she is surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, but actually quite canny and very, understanding of what the situation is, at least politically. And when the district representative comes through with the award, she understands it's not because he did anything necessarily great, but that what he represents as a black male teacher in the inner city as a role model, and kind of the optics of that. So I loved seeing Ava kind of, float around and really just drop little dimes stuff like that. And I also like that all the teachers were very supportive of him. No one was jealous or anything. They were just happy that it happened for somebody at Abbott. But to see him sort of have imposter syndrome the whole episode and try to figure out this is too much. Y'all are doing the most. I don't deserve this. Somebody else should get it. And also how Melissa, she sort of gets pulled into the whole thing because, again, for optics, they were saying a white woman presenting the award to a black man, that would be good optics. But Melissa, she stand up and everything. She doesn't really, she's like, fine, I'm going to do this and, kind of present him at the award show. But she also really gives him, again, a veteran teacher to a kind of a rookie teacher, some real, good advice about, accepting the award. And the fact that, yes, maybe she didn't deserve, maybe he didn't deserve it at that time, but that by the time he does deserve it, maybe he won't get the recognition like, Melissa and Barbara, who have been at it for years. And to just go ahead and accept it now and continue to grow. I thought that was, so that was a part where I wasn't expecting to get teary-eyed, and yet I did, because just that's the family and camaraderie between them, but also that she took an opportunity to really build him up and let him know, hey, you're not just accepting this for us, you're accepting it for who you are going to be. Meanwhile, on the C plot, the kind of the smaller bit, you have Barbara needing to get continuing education, where, as she puts it, to take a class to prove that she can do the job that she's been doing for 30 years, which I understand the sentiment. And, I'm not against that sentiment necessarily, but, continue education. It's just part of the job. So she really needs Jacob's help to kind of get her situated. And I love that Jacob is just he's not just gung-ho. He's just excited that Barbara would come to him for help and that, he can be, of service. It was really fun. I think Jacob, he's had a lot of opportunity to shine, even as kind of like a bit of a side supporting character. He's very much, he's very extra, but it serves the story very well. And to see Barbara sort of, her old ways having to kind of give way to, newer things. And so she takes the class about, intergenerational communication, how she can go about it. Which sort of leads into like the B plot, which is very kind of a big plot point, which is Janine having a problem student that she can't quite, get a handle on all year. And finally she calls a parent-teacher conference, and it doesn't go well. In fact, the parent that comes in has to take off work and is very annoyed by it. And essentially it's just like, it's your job to keep him in line. So why do you suck so much? You're the worst teacher ever. And it really is a huge blow to Janine, who, she's always stiff upper lip and just like positive, make the most. But it was a real blow to her because her pride centers on the fact that she thinks that she's a good teacher, and to have someone directly tell her, no, you're not, was a tough thing, to the point that it had her crying. And I know this isn't just, for dramatic effect, that these are things that really happen, because, people are people, and that, everyone can't just be like, have all the armor. They're not Melissa. Janine she was sensitive to that. But it led to such a beautiful thing where, once again, Barbara, who Janine looks up to, is able to really kind of put it all into perspective. She says a line that I think is probably one of the best lines I've heard on TV all year. She says, people, a lot of people throw dirt on my name and other people give me flowers, but to me, it's all a garden. And I think that's such a beautiful way of, looking at, coming in and doing the work, no matter who has to criticize or who has to, give you props or anything, but to do it because you care, and because Janine's such a good teacher, she does care. And that's why it was so hard on her. But also just Barbara in that moment, knowing exactly what needed to be said to this young teacher who was, maybe a little wobbly because of that blow. Really loved it. And especially because it led to a great joke about her being like, good, you can sign this little thing that said that I talked to you and, mentored you or whatever for my class. I thought that was hilarious and a great way to break up that little emotional moment. But again, another teary-eyed moment. It all leads to like a really great, speech from Gregory where, he acknowledges, I don't deserve this, but I'm going to accept it because of the teacher I'm going to be, and to dedicate it to all of my coworkers, other teachers who do come in and just do the work and try to make it happen. So overall, I think that this is a great episode. Again, you're not gonna belly laugh all the time. It's got some really funny stuff in it, but as far as developing character and just really showing these characters living and, breathing, and their insecurities and their, how they support each other as a family, it's so good. Like you can't hate anybody on this show. They're all doing what they're trying to do to make Abbott to be the best possible. And just in general, just being just great characters. So anyway, those are all my thoughts about this episode. What did you guys think about it? What did you think about what I had to say? Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there, and of course you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or @supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. All that good stuff helps so that more people see this channel and these videos. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining me. Come back next week. We're going to review the next episode of Abbott Elementary. Till then, I've been Mo De Poupée, your resident fabricant and commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.